I've been making booktube videos for 5 years, and has it got any easier to sit and talk at a camera? 100% not. I only realized it was my booktube anniversary when I was watching a YouTube anniversary video from Rebecca Eats Books, and then I realized it wasn't just an anniversary but my 5-year anniversary making videos on this channel. And so I thought I would do this tag. I did look up the original version of this tag and it has a lot of questions, so I've decided to just stick with the 8 questions that Rebecca answered. So the first question is, how have you changed from your first video to now? So I uploaded my first video on February 4th, 2017. I definitely have better lighting than that video. That video is so dark. It's very weird looking back at the last 5 years because my experience on booktube was very different sort of for the first 2 to 3 years than it is now. Pretty much everyone that I was booktube friends with back then doesn't make videos anymore, and if they do, they're much more sporadic, which is the case for me as well. I obviously went through a period where I didn't make any videos for, I think it was 9 months or something. So I do really miss that community aspect of booktube from back then. I know it still exists, and I still watch a lot of booktubers, a lot of newer booktubers. I used to feel really comfortable commenting on lots of people's videos and really interacting a lot. And now all the people making booktube videos are so cool that I just feel too intimidated. So I don't really feel like I'm part of the community anymore, as much as I love it when people do comment, obviously. And even if you don't comment and you're just watching, it's all wonderful, but just a different experience. For sure. To get back to the question, I'm definitely so much more confident in talking on camera. I'm definitely older. I was 23 when I made my first video and now I'm 28. But in a lot of ways, I feel like my channel hasn't really changed that much. It's still just me talking at a camera about books. I've had so many plans to change it in more ways, but it's just never ended up happening. Like, I've always wanted to be able to talk about films in a really consistent way, and that's just never happened. Partly because I feel like people just aren't as interested in that as they are in books. It's kind of interesting to me that people who are into books will kind of watch anything related to books. Like, they will watch the most straight up and down person talking at a camera going through the books that they've read and love it. And you can do the same thing for films and no one seems particularly interested. So that's an interesting observation. And there's been various other projects and vlogs that I've done like one video of and then never done another one again. It is something that I want to try and do, but those things just take more time. And so I do end up falling back on the very simple sit and talk to the camera videos because they're the easiest and quickest to film. And I always have this great idea in my head about how aesthetically pleasing I want to make my vlogs, and then they just don't end up like that because either my surroundings are just not that aesthetically pleasing or I just don't have the eye for it. It's something that I want to try and do more this year, but as I say, it's been something that I wanted to try and change on my channel for so long and just never quite achieved. So we'll see how that goes. Question 2 is, what video are you most proud of and why? I was looking through my videos and there's not really one that sticks out to me. It's more that I'm really proud of every video that I made where I talk about books, because I can't tell you how much I'm talking on the fly about every single book I've talked about on this channel. I never plan anything in advance. I don't take notes while I'm reading, which I really should, because there's been many times where I've been like, I want to talk about a quote that I remember that I read in this book, and then have no idea what the quote is because I didn't write it down or take a note of what page it was on. There's been times where I've been talking about books that I read so long ago that I just don't remember what happened in them, and I've just tried to scramble something that I can remember to talk about for the video. So the fact that in the edit I'm able to put together a video that feels like my thoughts are relatively cohesive is something that I am quite proud of. So it's not a single video, but I guess it's the process itself that I'm proud of. Number 3 is, what's your most popular video? So this is the only original tag I've done, which I don't think anyone else has ever done. Just fair enough, because I did watch it just now and it's pretty convoluted. But it's the letterboxd movie tag, which was a tag I made up with various questions about movies related to the app Letterboxd, which is the movie app where you can log movies and review movies that you've watched, and a variety of other things you can do on the app. And that video has just over 2,000 views. It's interesting that the videos that get the most views are definitely ones that people must be searching for on YouTube. Obviously that makes sense, like all those views aren't coming from subscribers, but yeah, they're definitely not my regular videos that get the most views. My second watched video is actually one I made before I started a booktube channel. I've just left it up because it has so many views and it's kind of interesting to see that people are still watching it. It's a video called Born a Vegan where I talk about the fact that I've been vegan since birth. That one also has about 2,000 views. And that was back when I thought maybe I'd make a channel about veganism, which never ended up going anywhere. I watched that video as well, and like I make some points in it, so I'm glad people are still watching it. I wonder if I should make an updated version of that video if anyone would be interested. I don't know. I think it's interesting being vegan from birth, considering like how like exponential the growth in like awareness of veganism and like vegan products has been. My third most watched video is quite a surprising one to me. It's a video I made right at the beginning of my channel called 5 Great Australian Novels, which has almost 15,000 views. And I think that was just a random idea I had where when I first started this channel, I didn't know of many Australian booktubers. And so like I thought my unique thing could be talking about Australian books, because I was going through a period of reading a lot of Australian books as well, because I just hadn't read a lot of the classics from my country. It's interesting it gets so many views because it's not like a great video in the fact that it's a really early one, so the production qualities are not great, but it's a video concept that I'm quite proud of actually, and the fact that I have talked about a lot of Australian videos on my channel in the past, and maybe that's another video that I should do an updated version on as well. Question number 4 is, what was an unexpected surprise of being on YouTube? I think back when I first started, it was a surprise to me how many friends I made and how quickly I was able to make friends on Booktube as well. I think people on Booktube talk about this a lot, but it truly is the most wholesome corner of the internet. And I think going in, I hoped that I would be able to make friends, but I didn't necessarily think that that was going to happen. So the fact that I did was really lovely, and kind of makes me sad looking back, because a lot of those people, I didn't follow them on any other social media. I don't even remember why I didn't follow them on other social media. Maybe they didn't have it, or they didn't like advertise it, or didn't have a public one. So yeah, I actually have no idea what has happened to so many people who used to be sort of like mutual commenters on each other's videos, which makes me really sad because there were just like so many lovely people. I think that's a surprise every single time when someone makes a comment and interacts with anything that I've said, or just says a complimentary thing about how they enjoy watching my videos. Like, it surprises me every time, because I don't know if I would watch my videos. I think I would, because obviously I don't make anything that I don't like when I'm editing it. When people are lovely, it's just a lovely surprise every single time. Number 5 is, what's the hardest thing about creating videos for YouTube? Definitely the time it takes. It's not a very quick medium because the editing process does take a long time, especially if you're someone like me who has so many pauses that take forever to edit out, and I just take so long finding the right words to say what I want to say, so I'm constantly going back and saying sentences again, trying to make it clearer what I'm trying to communicate. I actually really enjoy the editing process. I think it's actually my favorite part of doing YouTube. There's just something so satisfying about taking this like raw, unwatchable footage and turning it into something relatively watchable. But yeah, the hardest part is definitely the time it takes, and also the frustration with things just not turning out like I want them to be, and me having all these ideas and either just not doing them because I get anxious about doing them, or I procrastinate doing them and just end up not doing the ideas that I wanted. I think that's the hardest part about doing anything creative, is you always have this great idea in your head of what it's going to turn out to be, and it can never end up being exactly the way you thought about it in your head. I think maybe I'm just going to have to get over that and enjoy experimenting with videos more and not worrying about whether they exactly turn out the way I want them to be. Question 6 is thoughts on equipment. What's been the most useful piece of equipment you've bought? I actually only bought a proper camera late last year, and that's because I have these great ideas about vlogging, so I was like, I need a vlogging camera. So the camera I'm using now is a Canon G7X, and even like being able to say a camera name sounds so fancy to me. But I was just really lucky. I saw it on Marketplace. Someone was selling this camera for like half the price that you can get them new, and I knew this one was a really good quality vlogging camera and has the little screen that you can flip up so you can like see yourself. Just having good quality footage as opposed to I've been using my phone this whole time is so nice. It's just so much nicer to edit. Funnily enough, I was thinking I need to buy a tripod now, because obviously the tripod I had before was like a selfie stick style thing for a phone, and I was in an op shop with my sister and my mum in not really a country town, but like a country suburb outside of a place down south, and we were just going on a little trip because it was a long weekend last week. And yeah, we were in an op shop and my sister's like, oh, do you need a tripod? And she just picks up this tripod that she's found on the floor of the op shop, and it's relatively old. Hang on, I'll show you the box. This is the box. So it looks super old, from maybe like the 90s or something, the early 2000s. But obviously a tripod is a tripod. Like, the design has not changed. It works perfectly and I'm so happy because it just cost $15. But obviously before I bought this camera, I filmed on my phone for almost 5 years and it worked perfectly fine. It worked much better when I had an Apple phone. I never really thought much about the fact that an Android phone was not going to have as good a camera, or at least I thought at this point, like, surely all phone cameras are equal, but no, the Android phone that I have now, the camera really is not great. And that was part of the reason why I started looking for a proper camera as well, because I think if I'd had an iPhone, I probably would have just stuck with that because the quality on that was just so good, even though the iPhones I had weren't the like newest ones either. But the most useful piece of equipment, which is not equipment but like editing software, is the DaVinci editing software that I use, which is just the best because it's all free. Like, you can get a paid one, but you do not need a paid one for the kind of videos that I make. And I just love having professional feeling editing software. It's really easy to use and it just makes that long process of editing so much better when you have a good program to use, and not having to pay for it was so good. Question number 7 is, have you had to deal with negative feedback or comments, and how did you handle it? So I actually have not. I think everyone on Booktube probably has the same answer, unless I suppose you're like super famous and have lots of views from people who aren't necessarily in the Booktube community. But for me and my tiny little channel, all the comments have been lovely, like every single one. Not just people being nice, but just being like friendly and encouraging and supportive, and like more than just being a nice place, it's like an actively friendly place where people want to make you feel welcome. I have had a few negative comments on other videos, particularly videos about veganism, which I only have a couple anyway, but any kind of negative comment I just ignore it. Anyone leaving that kind of comment just wants attention, and so if you don't give it attention, then they lose all their power. And I think if you're scrolling through a section of comments and you're seeing replies to all the respectful ones and no replies to the just downright stupid and bullying type of comments, then it just ridicules that person who's made that comment. And so the last question is, what advice would you give to someone thinking of starting YouTube? So I think the obvious advice you can give to anyone is just start. Like, just get your phone out and film yourself if you really want to start a Booktube channel. Like I was saying before, Booktube is not a place where you have to have all your quality perfect up front, or if ever. People just want to see people talking about books. That is literally all anyone wants in this corner of the YouTube community. There's something really lovely about that because it means anyone can do it. If you read books, you can join in. I remember I wanted to start a YouTube channel for so long, way before I started a Booktube channel. Back in 2012, which was when I first discovered YouTube as a thing, I tried to make videos, which I found the other day on my hard drive, and they are so funny. I finally reached the age where they're not cringy anymore. They're just kind of adorable, at like me 10 years ago trying to do quirky little sketch type videos. The kind of things that were popular on YouTube back then was so different from what's popular now. It's crazy. But yeah, so eventually the reason I started Booktube after I discovered that Booktube was a thing was because it has a really easy structure that you can follow. You can literally just once a month do a wrap-up video, or you can once a week do a wrap-up video if you read lots of books, or do a Friday read. There are so many tags you can do. The Booktube newbie tag really does get you so many views and comments really early on because people will search that tag out. It's something I used to do as well. I should start doing it again. And it just makes it so much more motivating to make videos when you know that you'll be making content that is sort of established content, and then you can branch out from that with your own particular like interests and niches and creative ideas. All right, that is all the questions. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know how many people are still here who might have watched from 5 years ago, but regardless, I appreciate every single person who's still here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.